Hello and welcome back to another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. I'm Kaiju Kim. Hope you're all doing well on this lovely afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. The 90s were an interesting time. It brought us a lot of fun, awesome, delightfully cheesy films, TV shows, and video games that we all know and love to this very day. And we're going to talk about all of those wonderful things. But first, I have to bring in tonight's guest who has been on the show before. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back the man who has heard of everything and has seen nothing, Professor Kaiju.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks for tapping me on for your radical live stream.
Great.
I had a better bit in my head, and that just
it sounded
Kim,
better in your head. It's one of those things. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Hey.
I wish I had a skateboard too. I could have done the was it what's his name? I was thinking
Tony
not
Hawk.
Joe Pesci. No, not Tony Hawk.
Oh.
The one where it's like, how you do, my fellow kids, and he has a skateboard behind him. I can't remember.
Is it Steve Buscemi? No.
Buscemi, yes.
Yes.
Okay. For some reason I was thinking like Joe Pesci. I'm like, that's not Joe Pesci. I don't know why I've got Joe Pesci in my head.
How do you do, my fellow kids? Oh. All right, let's see who we have in the chat tonight. We got Sunzilla 2008. How's it going? Thanks for stopping by. And have you seen this person before? Monstrosities?
I think I've seen him. He always like comes in and harasses me no matter what. He's like leaving comments everywhere, just like the biggest butthole I've ever seen.
Okay, so you have seen him.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt from Monstrosities, how's it going? Leo Yokutan, how's it going? Godzilla Train 1090. Thank you for stopping by. And James Shelton. Hey, what's up? What's up? All right. So, shall we get right into our discussion, my good sir?
Sure, absolutely.
The 90s. I'm a 90s baby. You a 90s baby?
I was born 1990, so yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
1991. Yay. All right. So, when you signed up to be on the show, you mentioned wanting to discuss Americanized tokusatsu in the 90s. So, now, the only 90s American tokusatsu shows that I know of are Power Rangers, obviously, Big Bad Beetleborgs, and Masked Rider. Is there anything else I'm missing?
So, yes. So, Power Rangers, of course, is like the big one everyone knows. And I know that still not every single person knows that it's originally based off of a Japanese show. But I mean, like, I think people who are in our community or the fandom, for the most part, know it was based off a Japanese show and everything. But yeah, there was Big Bad Beetleborgs, which was based off of another series called, I think it was Metal Heroes. And then there was Masked Rider, which is just basically Kamen Rider, but in English, you know, like the name wise. That one was like, I think lasted like 6 episodes or something. Like it's one of those that's been forgotten to time, and most people wish it was completely forgotten. But there was also Virtual Reality Troopers, which was another short-lived. I think they had like 1 season, which is also based off of another Metal Hero series, which is why, like, you know, you've got these like robotic-looking guys for that series, and then Big Bad Beetleborgs have like a different version, a different like series of Metal Heroes. And then my absolute favorite one, Superhero Samurai Cyber Squad, which was based off of the original Gridman show. And that is Cyber with an S, because it was the 90s and incorrect spelling was really cool. So But as far as I know, those were all the ones. And Power Rangers was the only one that actually survived. Big Bad Beetleborgs, I think, was like the second biggest because that had like multiple seasons, but then that died in obscurity too. So, but yeah, those I watched every single one of them. I enjoyed all of them, and I think I liked a lot of the other series because I loved Power Rangers, but I always wanted to see more of the others, and it always drove me crazy that I either couldn't catch it or they never seemed to be on, and it wasn't until like I was older that I found out they just didn't last that long. So that's why I like never saw them anymore. But yeah, and I think definitely those helped influence me into what I like now. So
Awesome. So, yeah, VR Troopers completely slipped under my radar. I did not hear about it till like later on, till
way
adulthood. Yeah. I was aware of Big Bad Beetleborgs. I remember watching a few episodes here and there. Um, um, but of course, I'm mostly familiar with Power Rangers. I mean, everyone loves Power Rangers. I do feel a little bad talking about Power Rangers without my friends Michael and Nathan of the Power Trip podcast, which, by the way, if you were a fan of Power Rangers, please go listen to the Power Trip podcast. It is a fantastic, fantastic podcast by wonderful people. But yeah, so let's talk about Power Rangers for a little bit.
Absolutely.
What's your first memory of the show, like Mighty Morphin specifically?
Man, it's really hard to remember like my first memory of it. Like the first thing I think the first thing I can remember from the show or anything of it was like I can't remember the villain's name anymore, but like the first time they fought the mummy, not the mummy guy, like the Sphinx looking monster from the original Power Rangers. He was like in the second or third episode or something like that, and they had the crystals that they used like 3 or 4 times in the show. Like they had like a little crystal in their hands, and then they would like insert it into
2, 1, power up.
Yeah, and I remember those being like part of the plot, and then like later them never showing them. And as a kid, I was always just like, where did those go? Like, what was the whole thing? And like, of course, not knowing that it was probably something that they mangled from Super Sentai, and then they were like, well, we don't have any more footage of this, so we're just not going to show them again or something. But yeah, that and the fact that when I first got as like a Christmas gift, or some gift at some point, my Green Ranger Dragon Dagger toy that I wish I had kept.
You didn't keep it?
No, because I went through that phase where it's like, oh, this is a kid's show. These are kids stuff. I gotta get rid of that. Now I'm like, you fool. You absolute moron.
Fool. You buffoon. Oh, man. I was at a toy show a few months back, and I had to choose between the Power Morpher and the Dragon Dagger, and I chose the Power Morpher. But I mean, it was worth it, but, I still wish I had a Dragon Dagger.
I think both of those are that's a tough choice because like the Dragon Dagger is cool, but it only represents one, where the Power Morpher can represent literally all of them if you've got the coins or stuff with them. So
yeah, it comes with all the coins too. So
yeah, I had wanted to get the legacy ones that they came up with. Like I'd meant to get those, but I think at the time I had bought some like SH Monster Art stuff or something, and I was just like, I don't have the money. He's like, maybe I'll get it some other day. And then now they're out of print, and now they cost like 3 times the amount. I'm like, I'm not going to pay $400 for the Dragon Dagger. Thank you very much, or whatever it goes for.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'd like to continue to buy groceries and pay rent. Okay. Ooh, our friend Michael came in, who I was just talking about, who is one of the hosts of the Power Trip podcast. Again, go listen to that podcast. Hi, Michael. All right, yeah. So my first memory of Power Rangers, my older brother was watching it, and the theme song was on, and then Kimberly came on screen, and my brother pointed out to me that the Pink Ranger has the same name as me. And so that's the reason Kimberly is one of my favorite Rangers, and it's also the reason why pink is one of my favorite colors. So there's that. And my brother and I have bonded over Power Rangers throughout the years, both as kids and adults, because as kids we played with all of the toys, and then as adults we watched through almost all of the series on Netflix, and we made fun of it as we went along, and it was a good time for everybody.
How did you feel it held up when you rewatched it? Or
It's so cheesy, but it's so wonderful. Like the music though, like the soundtrack of the original series is just mwah. Ron Wasserman, however you say it, musical
Mhm.
genius.
I bought his like revised or updated soundtrack for the Power Rangers like years ago. He had it. I think he still has it on Bandcamp. But yeah, it's yeah. It's good music. I mean, I still remember that theme song. Theme song is catchy, so
Yeah.
catchy.
Matt wants to know when you're gonna cosplay as Ivan Ooze.
Maybe when he cosplays as one of the Tengu warriors, puts on
I would
bird
love to
bunch of
see
feathers.
that. Yes.
uh
That's amazing. That would be really cool. All right, so let's see what else. Yeah, and then how far into Power Rangers did you watch? Like, where did you fall off around?
I was actually thinking about bringing that up if you didn't bring it up. I That's a hard one to remember exactly because I'm trying to remember like what was like what series was like the last one in the line. So like I remember watching pretty strongly up till Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue. I want to say the last one that I really watched was like I remember Wild Force, watching that on and off, and I was getting to a point where I was just like, I kind of like this, but I'm not really sure anymore. And then I think Dino Thunder came out after that. Where
Mm,
if I'm trying to remember the right name, because I know they've had like 3 or 4 different Dino series, the one where Tommy comes back as like a mentor.
yeah, that's Dino
Yeah,
Thunder.
I want to say Dino Thunder around then was like the very last one that I watched, because like I watched people do some reviews for some of the later seasons and I'm like, I don't know any of these. So like I think Dino Thunder was about like where I stopped, and I watched it a lot because I liked the designs, like dinosaurs, and I was also happy to see Tommy come back. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, it was awesome seeing Tommy in a mentor role, and he comes back as a ranger, which is really cool. And I love I think it's in the second episode, the rangers are fighting, and then you know how the monster always grows up, and then Tommy's like, "Let me guess, 30-story version of the guy you were just fighting." Like, how did you know?
Little cheeky jokes, yeah.
That's one of my favorite series too. I think I fell off around Lost Galaxy.
Mm.
Yeah, Lost Galaxy. Because I remember watching Turbo, well, Zeo, then Turbo, and then In Space, and then Lost Galaxy came, and I was like, okay, I'm done. But then I picked up again around Dino Thunder.
I want to say that it was like on and off with some of the seasons. Like some seasons I watched a little bit more than others. I remember I watched Space a lot, but I think Galaxy, like, I only caught chunks of, because I kept getting confused about some of the plot. Like I'd see certain things, and then like maybe a couple weeks later, I'd see another episode, and I was like, "What? Like when did that happen?" or whatever. Um, yeah, and then some of them were, uh, like Wild Force. I really liked. I remember liking that a lot because they had so many different Zords in it. That was one of the appeals. Like they had enough Zords to make 3 whole Megazords in the show, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I do remember. I actually do remember watching Wild Force, especially that one episode, Forever Red. I remember watching that when it first aired. It was amazing.
I forgot that was during Wild Force. Yeah.
Yeah. From our friend Michael, when you rewatch, I can't speak. When you rewatch the franchise as an adult, you're able to pick up on things you missed as a kid. For example, Zeo theme is displacement. I fell off Lost Galaxy also. Interesting.
Mm.
From Leo, honestly, the 2 shows that I loved greatly growing up in the 90s were Star Trek Voyager and Deep Space Nine. A Trekkie. Are you
I
a
didn't
Trekkie
watch
or a
Star
Star Wars
Trek. No, I didn't watch any Star Trek really till several years ago. I watched Next Generation Really love that series, and I've been meaning to watch either Deep Space Nine or Voyager. I know I have one of my friends, his wife, is really into one of those later series, and has made fun of me for liking the Next Generation because her favorite is like the Voyager, and she's like, it's much more superior. And I'm like, don't you dare say anything about Captain Picard, okay? Don't you
Listen, how dare you disrespect Captain Picard? He is played by Sir Patrick Stewart. He is a sir, okay? He's a gentleman.
He will sip tea and then also like completely decimate an enemy, while quoting Shakespeare. It's, how do you beat that?
You can't compete with that. Come on, guys. All right, this is a little off topic, but I've seen this person ask this question a couple times. Sunzilla 2008 asks, what are your 5 favorite Godzilla designs and movies?
You or me first?
You can go first. You're the guest.
Oh, okay. So my top one would be Shin Godzilla because it's my favorite movie and my favorite design. I will agree, though, there have been some people who have said that it is a little weird that Toho has pushed that design so much in marketing when Shin is one of their most horrifying designs of Godzilla. I think that's it is kind of funny that like the one that takes off most like a horror monster is like, let's slap this on everything, like lunchboxes, towels, erect a new statue of it. But I think I would say designs, the original design I still really love. And this is no order with these, other than Shin. Legendary, I really like Legendary's design. I think it's a really solid design for Godzilla. I want to say like 2000 Millennium, that Godzilla, there's something about those spikes and that the way he looks is just really cool. Trying to think what would be, because a lot of them it's just hard for me to like really go. It goes back and forth a lot. I would probably have to pick another Heisei Godzilla, like either Biollante or versus Ghidorah. A lot of the Heisei designs are just like very slight shifts with the design, so it's like one of those would probably be number 5, and then movies: Shin Godzilla, the original Godzilla, King of the Monsters, also in my top 5, absolutely. Man,
It is a tough question.
It is, because I'm like, I want to say that after that, it might be like Return of Godzilla, because that was another one that like always, it's like the ones that like leave an imprint in my mind too. That, and also Final Wars. I am a Final Wars fan, because it is just insane and over the top, and I like them. I like movies well thought, and I like some that just indulge in ridiculously. So
I can definitely agree with that. Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think Final Wars is one of my favorites too. Other than that, I also, you know me, I love Godzilla 2000, the American cut specifically. Let's see. I love Godzilla versus Megalon. I love it. Like I said, I like Godzilla Final Wars, Godzilla versus Biollante, and I'm trying to decide if I want King of the Monsters 2019 or Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2 in the number 5 slot. I can't decide.
So I would go with King of the Monsters because that's an actual movie.
Get out. Okay.
I need to rewatch it, because when I watched that like several years ago, I couldn't. But
oh, okay. This is all right. It's another discussion for another day. But listen, I will fight you. I will defend that movie. Okay, no. All right. So continuing to answer the question so we can move forward with our conversation. Favorite designs, Millennium, 63. Let's see. Biolante. King Ghidorah kind of looks similar in that one in the 91 film. And I like the way he looks in Megalon. I think he looks cute. All right. So moving on. Leo says, call me weird, but I have no idea why I never got into Power Rangers. I just didn't ever watch it. Really? Okay. Well, sometimes maybe it slipped under your radar like, VR Troopers did for me. It happens.
That, or maybe you had those parents who were like, I don't like the way that these guys fight in colored spandex, and I don't want you to watch it. I don't know.
Yeah.
90s, what's that?
90s, what's that? He said 62. Yeah, 62. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. I don't know why I said 63. Yeah. The 90s, what's that? Says Valerie. Hi, Valerie.
I think that's before your time, Valerie. I don't.
Yeah.
We're talking about the good old days.
Yeah, y'all young whippersnappers don't know what we're talking about. Those were the good old days. All right now. Okay. So moving on from Power Rangers, another thing that I was obsessed with in the 90s was Pokemon. Were you a Pokemon kid? Were you into Pokemon?
That series, like, if I didn't start doing stuff about Godzilla on YouTube, and if the fact that there weren't already so many Pokemon YouTubers, I might have gone down that path. Yeah. Ever since those first games, I think I've literally played like I've played every generation. Some of them took me a little bit longer to get to, like years later or whatever, but yeah, I played like at least one of each generation.
Bulbasaur, yeah. Charmander, or Squirtle?
Bulbasaur. I would die for Bulbasaur.
Okay.
Honestly, the first three starters, like, I think all their designs are fantastic, and it's a really hard choice. They're all just really cool looking, and all their full evolutions are. But there's just something about Bulbasaur that always caught me. I've always loved his design. And I've also gotten sick of seeing Charizard on everything recently.
I mean, I always chose Charmander, so there's that.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I don't think he's a bad Pokemon at all. It's just that, like, when they made like the stuff like with the Mega Evolutions, it's like, oh, we'll make two different Charizards. It's like, then in Sword and Shield, it's like, oh, Charizard's the only returning original starter at the beginning until they made an update. But I was just like, okay, I know. And then they also make his stuff look cool. It's like Venusaur. It's like, oh, Venusaur, you get a bigger plant.
Congratulations. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but like Charizard's like a fire-breathing dragon. It's hard to compete with that, really.
It is. Or honestly, a turtle that has giant cannons off of its back. I mean, they all scream like kids are gonna love these. They're all like encapsulate that type of stuff. But yeah, I got like Pokemon Red way back in the day. I saw the anime. I want to say that I might have been one of the first people. I've always meant to look this up because I think I watched the anime before it actually hit TV. Maybe there was like a video store which had like a VHS of it, and it caught my attention. And I grabbed it, unless like they had already aired it on a television show, and maybe I just didn't have that network when I was younger. But like I watched that VHS of the first 3 episodes probably like 3 dozen times after I bought it. And I was just like, I want to see where this goes. I want to see him catch all these Pokemon and all these badges. And little did I know, barely any of that happens in the show. It's like episode 35. Ash gets his first badge. Yay.
Oh, yay. Oh my They're still continuing the Pokemon series to this day, and he's still 10 years old.
No, actually, I think he's 11. I think they actually made
I've
it.
been corrected.
I know.
He aged a whole year since 1998. I think the series came out, right? Okay. What? Why hasn't he become a Pokemon master yet? It's been long enough. I think we need to move on.
In hindsight, I wish that they had done something like with the video games where every season of it followed like the new protagonist from the game. And then that way you could always have a young kid playing and doing the stuff, but then it wouldn't have to be, why is this kid 10 years old 20 years later? You know, it's like, oh, here's the guys from this set of games, and now here's their Pokemon journey as they go through their new region. And everything. And then maybe you could have the old characters make callbacks later on or something, you know, but it's like, no, Ash has just got to be, he's got to appeal to kids. So we've just got to keep him in a weird time stasis for 30,000 years.
And counting. Yeah. Oh, man. Let's see. Big Bar says, y'all don't know about Big Bag Beetle boards. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. Silly.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't remember too much from that show. I remember this weird looking guy. I forgot his name.
I have forgotten his name too, but I am like pretty certain he was played by Jay Leno.
Was he?
The blue guy with like the Elvis hair.
Yeah.
And he was like the guy who
was he blue?
Yeah, he was like light blue. He had like a light blue skin tone.
Flabber.
Flabber.
Was his name.
Okay.
I knew it started with an F. I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, and then they had all like the original like Universal monsters. They had like a werewolf, a mummy, a Frankenstein or whatever in the house, and Flabber was like the magical guy who gave them their powers. It wasn't Jay Leno. Oh, dang it. I thought I had heard something about that, like they had. Okay, well,
yeah, like I was gonna say, like I don't think that was actually Jay Leno. He had a chin like Jay Leno, but I don't think it was actually him.
I was thinking that a little bit because, like, for Samurai Cyber Squad, they got like Tim Curry to voice the main villain in that, so it's like having those weird connections sometimes back in the 90s, like with different television shows. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if they got some like bigger actor with the money that they may have had to just make an appearance in something. But yeah, so yeah, he did have like the facial structure, like it looked like it could have been Jay Leno.
Yeah, I think so. All right, what were we talking about? All right, GFan86 asks, Pokemon or Digimon? For me, I like both. I did like both. I was a little skeptical of Digimon at first, but it grew on me. I grew to like it. So how about you, Bryce?
So that would be a big both for the digital boys and the digital girls. Let me hear you say Digimon. Man, it was always a big split for me, and I think I've liked Pokemon more because I've had more exposure to it. Because like the anime for Digimon, the shows that they had were phenomenally better because there was like it was like a story to it. You know, it wasn't just like, hey, let's collect all these Pokemon and these badges, and they kind of run the show for a while. They had like an ongoing plot for Digimon, and I thought most of the designs were really cool and crazy, and some of them didn't make any sense, like how one Digimon goes from 2 legs to 4 legs to 2 legs back to 4 legs again. But that's neither here nor there. I've always loved Digimon, and I just wish that there was more Digimon stuff out there, because like they had the shows, and then like the last like couple shows they aired on one television channel at like 5 a.m, and no one ever saw it, and then it just slowly like died off in the night. Plus the games have been hit or miss with Digimon too, so
I never played any Digimon games. I remember getting some of the toys, but I don't think I did have like a little Digivice thing, like it was kind of like a Tamagotchi. Like you would like walk around with it, and then I would always choose Gatomon because Gatomon was my favorite.
Yeah, I had the Digivices too with those, and they had a couple of them like Digimon World for the PlayStation. Like there's a series like Digimon World 1, 2, and 3. Also they're just all hit or miss. Like the first one played like almost like a 3D Tamagotchi sort of deal, where you had to train your guy, and you had to clean up after them, because if you didn't do the right stuff, they would poop where they're not supposed to poop. You actually had to do that, and if they did that, you had to scold them. But if you trained them correctly, they would digivolve into different. They had like different branches. And that game came with a strategy guide, and that strategy guide that told you how to get their different evolutions, I found out years later, was wrong. So every time I try to get some of the ones I like Greymon or something, it turns out that all the information in there was completely false. So I was like, it wasn't my fault. I was reading like garbage information. Yeah, and it really sucks too, because after a while they die. So
Really?
you have this Digimon, yeah, and then
No matter what you do, would they just die?
at some point they will. You can do stuff to keep them around longer, but at one point they'll perish, and then it's like, oh, I used this guy to beat a couple boss Digimon, and now I have to go all the way back and raise another one to hopefully progress further through the game. So I stopped playing that game after a bit.
That sounds lame. It's like oh, you spend all this time, training this Digimon and making it awesome, and then it just dies. What?
Yeah, that's why I prefer what I have recently gotten into, and that is the Digimon trading card game. Just this is from like well, let me see if I can get this on camera. This is like from a recent set that's like the old artwork for the old Digimon cards, but like in the new trading card format, so that they've got like different effects and stuff. I think I have. There we go. I've got your Gatomon.
Yay, Gatomon.
My camera will focus. Focus on the cat, please.
Focus on the cat. You must see the kitty.
Okay, I guess that's as clean as I'm going to get. And then I might have... Did I get... Yep. And I got the... Do I have it? Is it on? No, I'm doing the wrong way.
I saw Lilymon. Lilymon is one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah, Lilymon. I am, like, really bad at this. Okay, there we go.
Yay,
I think.
Lilymon. Yeah, I never knew they had Digimon trading cards. We were talking about this before we started. I had the Pokemon cards, but I forgot all the rules to it since then. All to the game. But I had like over 300 Pokemon cards. I think I might still have the very first Pokemon card I ever had. I don't know where it is. It might be in my memento box in my bedroom. I don't feel like grabbing it right now, but it was a Charmander. I got it from a Pokemon Rolls. It was like fruit roll up, not fruit roll up, right? Fruit by the foot, but like it's like Pokemon version of it. And there was a Pokemon card inside, and my brother and I flipped a coin to see who would get it, and then I got it. Yay.
Cool. It was weird how they stuck some of that stuff in like different products back in the day. They've done that. That's a random tangent about like Yu-Gi-Oh! Did that a lot with their cards. They would stick them like sometimes in magazines and in different video games. And they would sometimes stick cards that were that could be used in tournaments and were some of the best cards that you could use in a tournament. But the only way to get them was to drop like $40 for a new game.
Of course.
That's yeah. But yeah, Digimon, I have always had a huge thing for. It's just that like they just have not had this. They just don't have the same media influence as Pokemon. But like with this trading card game has been new. They've also been putting out like a new Digimon anime and stuff. They've been trying to make a resurgence, and I think they could do it. I think they could if they marketed it right. They also have these bracelets now called like the Vital bracelets or whatever, and they work like a Man, I forgot what you call those. When you walk around and it keeps track of your walking and jogging and health.
The
Fitbit.
Fitbit.
It's like a Fitbit. Yeah, it's like a Fitbit, but you have these little like almost look like SD cards that you put in, and they'll have different Digimon in there. And then you basically it tracks how much exercise and stuff you've done, and then it does stuff like digivolve them if you do enough stuff and whatnot. And it makes it like this like actually interactive game with keeping track of your fitness. And they also apparently have marketed even into the Common Writer. Because like I saw somewhere where like you could put like Kuga in there, and I'm like, how does that work? Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta squeeze in Common Writer somehow, I guess? Question mark. I guess. James Shelton says, Digimon cards, wouldn't that make them Papermon?
Papermon. Because they're not digital. I guess.
Oh, yeah. From Matthew Anderson, I love both, but I think that the Digimon anime was miles better than the Pokemon anime. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I would agree. I think I would agree because at least in the Digimon anime, the characters age. In the second season, some of them are older.
Yeah, and after like 10 episodes or something has happened.
Yes.
You know, it's like that place we were trying to get to that we talked about, we're there. It's not like, oh man, we got lost on this thing to find the seventh gym. I guess we'll just be stuck in this area for another 7 episodes.
At least. Oh, good lord. Michael says, our mutual friend Henry loves his. Awesome.
Yep. I know he does. I
should have Henry back on the show. Haven't talked to him in a while. Be nice to talk to him. All right. So speaking of, I guess, digital things, video games. What was your first video game you played as a kid?
Man. The first thing that really comes to mind is like Goof Troop for the Super Nintendo. That's like my first like good memory of something. Or I want to say the Super Nintendo was like the first console I ever had or I played when I was younger. Yeah, and then I know Pokemon definitely wasn't my first video game, but that's like one of the ones I've had like the biggest, fondest memories of from young childhood. But yeah, I also remember playing Super Godzilla on Super Nintendo as well and not understanding how to play that game.
I still don't know how to play that game. Like, it's so confusing. Like wait, how do you move? What's happening?
I remember beating the first boss, which I think was King Ghidorah, maybe?
I think so. Yeah, I think he was the first boss.
And then I couldn't find Mechagodzilla in the second level. Like, I could never find him. And then I'd run out of time or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how to do this.
I don't know how to video game. It's hard. Let's see. What was my first video game? I think my first video game was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Not the original one, but Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And we played it at my friend's house because my family was too broke to afford game consoles at the time. So we went to a friend's house. We played on the Sega Genesis, I think it was. Yeah. I remember playing with Tails and getting really, really mad when I died. But my parents wouldn't let me play after a while because it always like set me into an inconsolable rage every time I played it. I was like, why do I keep dying?
I remember my grandmother would play some games on there with me, and there were times where I remember she just had to walk away a little bit because she's just like, I don't know why I can't get past this thing. But yeah, those yeah, it's really hard. Like, I remember not the original Sonic. I remember playing like Sonic 3D Blast on the Genesis.
That was a good game.
And yeah, and that's like, and then also Sonic Pinball on the Genesis as well.
That was a weird
Like,
game.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, those were some like the earliest games, and then like I remember a lot from the Nintendo 64, playing Super Mario 64 and Star Fox 64. But yeah, I don't think I ever had like the original Nintendo, but like I remember a lot of stuff from the Super Nintendo, and yeah, it's just really hard to like remember the first memory I have of a game. I also remember playing, what's it, the Jungle Book for Super Nintendo. That was another old one. I don't know. It's like a jumble of like random like bits of like memories I have from that era. But
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of fun video games at that time from Leo. I cannot tell if I first played on the Genesis or the N64. I distinctly remember playing Sonic 2 before I played any N64 games, I think. Same here. I think the first game I played on the N64 was Super Smash Brothers. When did that come out? Did that come out in the late 90s, I think? Or is that...
I want to say it was probably the late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite video games. I'll give you one guess. I'll give you a guess as to who my main character was.
Captain Falcon.
Close, but no.
Oh, right. You like Pink Kirby.
He was my second main, but I always picked Pikachu.
I loved picking Pikachu. I just, when I played the original Smash, I had no idea. I was just like, I'm gonna keep zapping, and then I'm like now, like I don't really know how to play Smash like competitively, but like I still play like the newest one, and I look back at that time and I'm like, man, I just had no idea. I had no idea about how like intense those games were or how much stuff there was to those games. But yeah, Pikachu definitely. I honestly don't think I really picked anyone else in that game. I think it was like because I really never really played much Mario, didn't play a lot of Zelda. So I was just like Link, Mario. I'm like, eh.
Yeah. Let's see. From Sunzilla 2008, what are your 5 favorite Sonic games? Did you play a lot of Sonic?
My answer to this will help you with that. My top 5 Sonic games were Sonic 2 Battle. I think it was Sonic Battle 2, Sonic 2 Adventure,
Sonic Advance Battle,
Adventure 2
Adventure
Battle
2 Battle, Advanced
right.
2 Battle as Sonic.
Followed by Sonic 2 Advanced Battle, followed by Sonic Advanced Battle 2, followed by Sonic Battle Advanced 2, the second coming. Yeah, that would be... That's like the only big Sonic game I've ever played, and I enjoyed it and hated it at the same time. I loved like raising the Chowls were a lot of fun. Playing as Sonic and Shadow were fun. Playing as Tails and Eggman were a little less fun. Playing as Rouge the Bat or Knuckles made me want to bang my head against a wall.
Good. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I played quite a bit of Sonic as a kid, as a young whippersnapper. Let's see. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I guess, is my favorite for nostalgic reasons. I also like Sonic the Hedgehog 3, or more accurately, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I like that one. What other Sonic games? I like Sonic CD. That was fun. I loved Sonic Heroes. That came out in 2004, 2003 or 2004, one of those years. And I'm drawing a blank.
Sonic and the Seven Rings, Sonic the Werehog.
No. No, I didn't play any of the newer ones, really. There was something else. I can't remember.
Sonic Adventure 1, the best one with Big the Cat's big fishing mini games.
No. What was it? You know what? I think I'm kind of cheating here because like Sonic 3 and Knuckles are kind of the same, but like one of them's kind of different because one has Knuckles, the other one doesn't. So there you go. Those are my 5.
Yeah. It was before we had DLC, so like those count.
Those count. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and 3D Blast. That was a good one. That's another one I played. From Michael. Oh yes, 3D Blast and Pinball were interesting games. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie for Sega Genesis and Jurassic Park. Oh yeah, they did have games for that.
I remember. I don't know if it was for the movie, but I know I remember playing some Power Rangers like fighting games back then, where you could choose all the different Zords. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. It wasn't for the movie. It was like just like a regular Power Rangers game, but I remember playing that too. And when you pick Dragon Zord, he'd sound like Godzilla, which always made me happy. All right, let's see what else we got in the chat here. My 90s jam was the PlayStation, says Jonathan Salazar. The PlayStation. What games came out for the PlayStation? Tomb Raider with Laura Croft and her triangle boobs.
Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, some of the big ones. I remember playing those. It's hard for sometimes, like, I want to say something came out of the PlayStation, and then it's like that came out for the PlayStation 2. One of my favorite games of all time, Mega Man Legends for the PlayStation. That was a great one. Yeah.
Awesome. So we've talked about all kinds of 90s stuff tonight with the TV shows and the video games and all that fun stuff. I have kind of an interesting question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most valuable lesson you've learned from all these wonderful 90s goodness? Like from the TV shows or the movies that you've watched? Like what's the most valuable lesson you've learned?
That if you put radical or tubular on top of something, you can sell it, and it will sell for a lot of money.
Brilliant.
Man. It's a really good question and a little deeper than I thought. Trying to really think, like, distill, like, thinking about some of these shows. I've always, like, I don't know, I've just internalized, I think, a lot of stuff from those shows of, like, just pursuing dreams and things like I'm trying to remember some of the actual messaging from these shows, but I feel like I've always had that prevailing in my life, watching shows and movies and things that are just like, don't give up on things. Good always triumphs over evil. Just stuff that I've just tried to internalize my entire life about just, never completely giving up on things. I feel like that was always a prevailing thing with just for people who were like creative and everything, like, don't, be yourself, just, your interests and things are fine, to be that way and everything like that. There was always like the kid who was always just like, oh, look at this weirdo, he likes to draw or something like that, or do this and that. And it's like, finding out that like you don't feel that way about that stuff, it's like, it's cool to be who you are, especially if it's profitable. Yeah, I guess that's kind of like what I think of.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I came up with too. It's like the overall, like, overarching thing that I got from all of these 90s TV shows, especially Power Rangers, is just like, always fight for what you want. Don't give up, no matter how hard things get. And, things will definitely get hard, but you'll get beat up by a bunch of stuff along the way. But as long as you get back up and learn from your mistakes and do the best you can, you're going to be okay. Also, don't trust machines or aliens. That's another thing I've learned.
Yeah, especially if those machines either are a giant AI network or some type of robot that was sent back from the future. Definitely, those are not ones to trust. But it's perfectly fine to trust Alexa and say everything in front of her, including like incriminating sentences. That's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it.
Michael Hamilton says, that's a great question. I want to answer it too. I've learned this after the fact. Nostalgia is a power drug, but it's also a warm blanket that's there for us when we need it most. Amen. Absolutely. You know,
That's very true.
one of the things that I like to do when I'm feeling down is I put on like something that I'm familiar with, like a Godzilla movie or Power Rangers, or I'll play Sonic the Hedgehog too. Yeah, nostalgia is a powerful thing.
It can be. It's nice. It's a nice. It's always good as a comfort, but it should never completely blind you to things. It's always like, yeah, just moderation. You know, things in moderation. Don't get completely consumed by it, but don't like. You don't have to be ashamed of it. You know, there's plenty of times where I've listened to like an old music track that I haven't listened to in forever, and I just get that nostalgia feeling, and it's like, wow, it's so weird how it does stuff like that does that to you.
Yeah, it's like you listen to something that you haven't heard in ages, and it hits you different because you're in a different part of your life. Like, this is kind of random, but I was watching All Dogs Go to Heaven a while back, and it got to that song where the song that little girl Anne Marie sings. And usually, I used to think like, oh, the song is so cute, and I would sing along. But ever since my mom passed, that song hits me a lot different now. And I never used to cry during that song, but now I can't listen to it anymore. Otherwise, I will be a blubbering mess.
Mm.
So, yeah. But nostalgia is awesome. It's a wonderful thing. Yep. And with that, I think we'll wrap up our conversation. Good sir. Thank you so much for coming on to my show. This was a really fun conversation going down memory lane there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, it's been. I really haven't talked about that stuff in a long time, or even thought about a lot of those different shows and things. So this was a very fun conversation.
Very fun indeed. I love the 90s. We're 90s babies. Yes.
Yeah.
Jonathan Salazar says his favorite part of the 90s will always be video rental stores. Yeah, remember those? My goodness.
I do. Man, those hit different.
Yeah. I think there is still one remaining Blockbuster. I don't remember where it is, but there is one remaining Blockbuster.
Yeah, they have a Twitter account, I think, that they'll tweet from every so often. It's just called The Last Blockbuster. Yeah. Man.
Oh boy. So before we head out tonight, would you like to plug your stuff? What you got going on? If you have anything.
Sure. As my title down there, down here says, I'm Professor Kaiju, and you can find me at Professor Kaiju on YouTube, or Professor Kaiju on Twitter. I do tokusatsu kaiju related content and stuff. I have not put up anything, unfortunately, in a while, but I plan on changing that very, very soon. I'm not giving myself a date because every time I've done that, it has never worked out. So let me tell you, I have been working on some stuff, and I'm hoping to get out a lot more stuff this year than I have in a long time. So hoping for some smaller videos and some bigger videos this year. So
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Bryce, for coming on to my show. Always a pleasure talking to you.
same, Kim.
Yep. And to you watching at home, thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me and my fantastic guests. Before we end the stream, I do have an announcement that I would like to make. So let me preface this by saying I would very much like to upgrade my StreamYard account. If I upgrade my StreamYard account, I will be able to get rid of this branding you see at the top right corner. Yeah, I want to get rid of that. And maybe, have a background that's not just black nothingness. And I would also like to bring Chill with Kaiju Kim to Twitch. I'll still be on YouTube, but I want to expand to Twitch to grow my audience. And without going too much into my financial situation, that's not something I can afford on my own. That is why next Monday I will be relaunching my Patreon. So you can become a Patreon patron for as little as $1 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content, and you'll get a live shout out every week here on the show. There's absolutely no obligation, just letting you know that that's going to be a thing starting on Monday, February 7th. And you can also support the channel by heading over to my TeePublic store and buying something. Link is down below in the description. Again, no obligation. Anyway, also be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, like the stream if you had a good time here tonight, and don't forget to come back here next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye.